So up to this point, I've considered Hakari to kind of be the most enjoyable character, both for her insane lewdness, but also just her personality, just from episode 1, was the one that I enjoyed the most. But as I've said, I've enjoyed every character in some way or another, but damn, I wasn't expecting this season to find a girlfriend that I would enjoy more than Hakari, but after one episode, Nano, she steals the show. I mean, there is obviously a bit of bias on my part because in terms of personality design, I've always been a sucker for what seems to be emotionless but then slowly opens up sort of a personality, whether it is an actual android robot and, learns to be human, or in this case, just a girl who is quite shut off from a lot of normal human behavior. But I really enjoy the unexpectedness of someone who's so practical that's like, listen, why would I study the onion under a microscope when literally in the textbook it's the same damn thing? The jump in logic from being that practical to I'll suck on your finger because ultimately it's such a small cut, the bacteria, I can do it. It's like the way they can just so casually go from one scene to the next, and the fact that all the other girlfriends missed out on arguably the scene they all would have started suckling on fingers right after because they were just focused on the lab work. Absolute insane content this week, and easily my personal favorite out of the 5 so far. Full live reaction though to today's 100 Girlfriend episode over on my Patreon. If you would like to see that, it's over there if you're interested. Now, this to me was easily my personal favorite episode out of the 5. And this isn't the first time they've had an emotional twist to the kind of girlfriend dynamic. First 2 girlfriends join at the same time, then next episode we kind of have date bonding time with them with the kiss. Then next episode we get girlfriend 3. Episode after that, bonding time. Now episode 5, new girlfriend. There is a formula that they work with, but I think what really helps separate this episode from, say, the Shizuka stuff is, while yes, it was emotional in terms of like her kind of shut off nature, and then Rentaro going out of his way to build her the phone so that she could speak using her book and everything. But I found what was really nice is it almost felt like you took the formula of that introduction, but then just kind of refined it and let it feel even more like, okay, it's easy to forget in an episode like this, while there's certain shots, sure, especially with the ending, but it just felt like a normal romance episode that really let Rentaro stand tall as like a really good person, while simultaneously letting this new character, Nano, just really steal the spotlight in her own right. And there's very easy ways to make a character like this bland, boring, and just feel like they have no personality because they don't show a lot of reaction. But between the moment afterwards when she's basically at home doing her homework, she starts thinking like, did I just do that because I'm in love, or did I do this for a practical reason? And then she just has to keep writing pie over and over and over because she can't think of anything else. But if you look at what they did with the date, and they got off that rooftop, what I said last week, I want to see more stuff outside the rooftop, and they did exactly that. And next week, it looks like we're going to the swimming pool, so, they're going to be shameless. They're going to have absolute fun with the lewdness that will occur there. But the idea of going to a fair and going through all the different attractions, whether that is the merry-go-round and her just being so unenthused, like, why the hell are we doing this? Or the haunted house where, of course, she's not going to be spooked, but Rentaro absolutely will. But it was nice because I thought they were going to go the route of the kind of like love boat ride, like you sit in the boat and it goes around like a very like romantic area. But instead they went with the Ferris wheel where she got visibly scared. And then we see the hand holding and everything. And the idea of basically having a character who at face value knows she's in love, but fights it because what's the point? Like everything is so pointless. I love seeing the idea of the pictures and how he's like, you know what? We tried. That's okay. Appreciate you being honest. We'll burn these because they don't matter, and her ripping it away, it's beautiful. I really enjoyed the execution of this new edition, and the thing I was excited for the entire episode was how the other girlfriends would react, and most importantly, how she would react specifically, because that's always the kicker. The girlfriend who's being brought in learning that there's not 1, not 2, now at this point 3 other girlfriends. It is such a hoot, and the idea that you have reactions ranging from fool me once at this point, screw you, you still love me, you're not tossing me away, awesome, oh, I'm just reinforcements. Such random reactions, but perfect for the individual characters. But I have to say, Nano's was probably my favorite because she talks about how to kill, and she's like, poison's the most effective. They just all are like, you know what, this is just how it is. It's, man, if we ever got to see 40 girlfriends, the line of going down all their reactions is going to be glorious to witness. But I like the fact that they somehow make such a stupid premise at face value work, and I think by letting characters, especially like the past 2, have more emphasis put on them as a person rather than just saying, okay, because he already has 2 girlfriends, they always need to be on screen. they had a little relevance this episode, but I like the idea of letting Rentro connect with them personally, and the idea that in a sea of photos, she all looked the same at face value, but he was able to pick out the one where she was actually happy. And as she says, it made her quite thrilled that he was actually able to notice that, because most people can't. Like, these are the moments that really help it. And while I definitely enjoyed Shizuka's introduction episode, I thought it was the most serious at the time, I also said, you know, for me, the best parts of the show are the absolute ridiculousness, the Gintama level of comedy. And this episode, while not as emotional as that episode, it was a lot more serious with a lot less emphasis put on the comedy. And I actually found myself enjoying this show more with a more serious atmosphere than when it had comedy, which is a first for me. And I'm really excited to see what they do, because next episode does look like a date to the beach, which will be lewd, it will be funny, it will be ridiculous, absolutely. But at the same time, you know, it'll be interesting to see when the next girlfriend joins, and in terms of the formula and what they'll go for that one. Overall, like, I leave a very happy camper with this episode. It was easily my personal favorite episode, and the fact that, you know, someone so quickly, I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to say I hate Hakari or anything like that. I love all the girls that have been introduced, but I just really enjoyed what they did here. And I think having someone who's a lot more cool, calm, and collected, but not because she can't speak out loud like one of our characters, but the idea that basically it's just such a... I like that this author is taking such different personality traits, and it makes for such a wild harem that somehow still he hasn't been thrown off that roof just yet. But poison, I guess, is on the table. Like, I'm not really sure exactly what I want to see at this point going forward, because obviously we have the pool stuff, which will be fun, and we know we're getting one more girl getting introduced just based on the opening and everything. But it'll be interesting to see, like, once the harem is essentially formed for at least season 1, right? Because he's bumping into people left and right, being like, soulmate here, soulmate there, you get a soulmate, no, I get a soulmate. But I'm interested to see, once we have the initial group formed with the 5, what it's going to look like in terms of situations that will pop up afterwards and what they'll continue to do. Because up to this point, it's kind of been a formula of girlfriend get introduced, go on a date, or learn about people. New girlfriend, go on a date, learn about each other. So it'll be fun to see, because it seems like we're probably going to have about half of this season dedicated to the group formed and then just dealing with the nonsense, and the nonsense is going to be rather fun. But I think 4 or 5 does seem like a good amount of girls to have in the initial harem starting point, because yeah, 100 is the end goal, of course, but I think it's enough to allow enough variety and flavor and chaos, while still letting him bond with the characters individually, so the viewers can still continue to enjoy the cast and not let it feel too bloated right away. Because if you just jump him into 30 girlfriends right off the bat, it would just be too much, right? And I think he can only head pat so fast. But let me know your thoughts on this week's episode, because I definitely really enjoyed it, but let me know what you're feeling down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel. Like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction over on my Patreon if you're interested. And hey, while you're there, you also get a video shout out like Anthony Silva, Carry Me, Devonga Games, and Mac Vale are getting today. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.